Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of life coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program. We'll be right back to the show. But before we do, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, factormeals.com, where if you go to factormeals.com/unbroken50 and use the code unbroken50, you can get 50% off your first order. That's factormeals.com/unbroken50. If you're like me and you are a person who is busy trying to create a life, heal, work on their health, wealth, and relationships, and not to mention deal with the day-to-days of normal life, you do not have time to be going to the grocery store and trying to figure out what you're going to cook every single day of the week. In fact, one time I did the math and I realized I was spending over 15 hours a week at the grocery store and cooking. When I added Factor, I got to use that time for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my community, and for my business. And so if you're in the place where you need some more support in the kitchen, head to factormeals.com/unbroken50 and use the code unbroken50 to get 50% off. Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of life coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program. What's up, Unbroken Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Michael Unbroken podcast. My goal and company is to give you the tools to help you understand your past, get out of the vortex, and become the hero of your own story. This podcast is sponsored by thinkunbroken.com, and you can check out my new book, Think Unbroken: Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma. This podcast is not a substitute for mental health care, but instead think of it more as a companion where we're here to support each other and to grow. Each episode of the Michael Unbroken podcast is less than 10 minutes, though sometimes that does not happen. So hang out with me, stay tuned. If you have questions, if you want to have conversations with me, or you have information you want to share, reach out to me directly on social media at Michael Unbroken, or you can email me at michael@thinkunbroken.com. Enjoy this episode, my friend, and until next time, be unbroken. Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? I am Michael Anthony. Welcome to another episode of the Michael Unbroken podcast, where I just try to do my best to help you make your life better. Eventually, you'll figure it out, but I figured if I can help you get it there, I might as well. Sorry, I was being silly. I was thinking about something today, and this is the concept of motivation. And I think that for many people, motivation is touted as this idea or this concept that will somehow take you from where you are to where you want to be. However, I have a really big problem with motivation, and that's that I think motivation is bullshit. I don't think that motivation actually works. I don't think motivation actually gets what you want out of life done. I don't think motivation will actually lead you to anything greater than where you are right now. And you're probably thinking to yourself, but I'm motivated. How do you change your life if you're not motivated? How do you do things if you're not motivated? I think motivation can perhaps be the catalyst. It can be that one thing you switch gears. It can be the change maker, the concept, the whatever that gets the idea rolling, right? It's really easy to watch a YouTube video or listen to a song or read a book and suddenly feel motivated. But there's no longevity in it, right? For instance, like I love David Goggins. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you must know who this guy is. Like David Goggins is one of the most incredible human beings on planet Earth. The dude is insane in a good way because he just makes up his mind. And when he does, he goes for it. And I relate to this because this is very much the way that my mindset works. Once I have a decision made up in my mind about something that I want in life, I go all in on it, no matter what, until I get it done or until I get to the point that I realize like it's just not going to happen. Motivation is great in that if I go watch a video from him or whomever else is a motivating person in the world, I might have this spark, right? You know what I'm talking about. Suddenly you're like, I'm going to write the book. I'm going to run the marathon. I'm going to do whatever the thing is for 1 hour, 3 days, maybe even a week if you're really diehard about it, right? Think about it like this. If you smoke, if you drink too much, if you don't take care of yourself, if you're not doing all those things, people may say, well, you lack motivation. I disagree because as a person who used to smoke and used to not take care of themselves, I think what you lack is discipline. And this is the pot calling the kettle black, guys. Who, if you're listening right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm not shitting on you because I've been there and I know how incredibly difficult it is to actually implement change into your life. But the thing that you have to understand is change isn't going to happen just because you want it to. It doesn't work that way. You know, people talk about the book The Secret and how there's this idea that as long as you believe it, it will come to fruition. That's just not reality. Nothing you've ever done in your life has happened without hard work behind it. You might be motivated to the idea that, hey, you know what? I'm going to try this thing. I'm going to change the world. Everything's going to be different. And then you realize how fucking hard it is to do that. And slowly but surely it starts to dissipate away. Suddenly you're like, oh wait, I don't really care anymore. And I'm not journaling every day. And I'm not working on running this marathon. And I'm not trying to make my health better. What you have to understand about motivation that is so important that most people won't ever tell you is that it doesn't last more than the direct amount of time that you've been impacted by it. And so what that really means in reality, if you break it down, if you put it in this and go, you know what, I want to climb a mountain, and here at one pillar of your life is climbing this mountain. And suddenly you're like, I'm going to get a book about climbing a mountain. And then I'm going to listen to podcasts about climbing a mountain. And then you start training for climbing a mountain. You realize like of all those things, the training is the hardest part, but the goal is still there. And you're like, I want to climb that mountain, but you're relying on your training being the thing that's going to get you there. Well, when that training starts to get really difficult and really hard, and you're in this place where you don't want to do it anymore, suddenly motivation is gone. And so you have to ask yourself, why? Why do I want to climb the mountain? Why am I willing to listen to the podcast and read the books and start the training? And even when it's hard and it feels like you cannot go any longer and your body is sore and you're mentally exhausted and the mountain just feels like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The way that you're going to get to the top of that thing is by figuring out why. And no motivation externally will ever give you that. There's nothing, like even I think about it like this. I've chased money. I have chased women. I have chased success. I have had them in different various points in my life. I have chased this idea of being very fit. I have chased all these different goals, many of which in my life I've met. I'm not saying that women are a goal. That's not what I mean. So please don't infer it as such. But my point being is I've chased these goals and these concepts and these ideas thinking that they're actually going to make my life better. And then I realized like it really doesn't, because my motivation, right? I'm doing air quotes if you're listening, is wrong, because it doesn't matter how much I'm motivated by money. It doesn't matter how much I'm driven by the idea of having a great body and going to the gym for 2 hours a day every day. Those things don't matter without having a really clear and concise why. I'll give you an example. When I chased money in my early 20s, my why was because I didn't want to be in poverty anymore. I looked at the way that my life had been growing up and I said, no more. When I chased being physically fit, I realized that I was 150 pounds overweight. I was wearing a 4XL t-shirt. My jeans were size 47. I was the fattest dude in the room most of the time. And my why was I want to have confidence. I want to have self-esteem. I want to feel good about who I am. And so if you're climbing this mountain, proverbially, whatever your mountain is, you have to be able to find the why behind the reason that you're doing it. Because your motivation is going to wax and wane. And eventually you're going to come to a place in your life where the motivation has run out. So how do you get to the next step? You identify your why. You go, this is why. This is the most important reason that I am doing X. And when you can identify that, now the really important part comes into play. And it is unrelenting determination to reach that goal. When I say unrelenting, I mean you have got to be willing to die for what you want. Maybe literally, depending on what it is. If it's climbing a mountain, you might actually die, not only in the process of training, but in the process of climbing it. Think about every year on Mount Everest, people die. Like, that is just how this goes. Every year, people change their lifestyles and they get sick and they're getting the poison out. And sometimes you die. Like, that's just the really sad reality of this. And so you have to identify why. What is it that is happening in your life that is so important that you are willing to sacrifice to get? And it's this unparalleled level of determination that you have to bring to the table, unlike anything you've ever experienced, to get to where you want to be. When I chased money and this idea of my why being getting out of poverty, I worked like 75 hours a week. I didn't stop, and then I worked more, and then it started coming and I worked more. When I decided to get fit in my mid-late 20s, it was diet, it was exercise, it was yoga 4 or 5 times a week, it was getting off of cigarettes and alcohol and eating poor foods and all these other reasons health-wise to get healthy. And I had to be steadfast at all times, because losing 150 pounds is literally the equivalent of losing a human being in weight. I mean, I was like 350, 360, and now I'm at like 200. I've been as low as like 195. And your why has to be worth more than whatever you're doing in the very moment that is satiating whatever your need is, right? And so motivation isn't going to get you there. Motivation isn't going to satiate your needs, but your unparalleled will. Yes. And so in order to do that, you figure out your why. You have unrelentless determination. And then you just go. You just go. And it sounds very easy to just be like, yeah, you just go to the gym. And sometimes it's not. And it sounds really easy to just write the book. And it sounds really easy to quit smoking. And sometimes it is. Like, it's a mindset thing. So the third part of this, which is really important, is you have to get your mindset fixated on this idea that you are capable of doing the thing that you want to do. And what do I mean like that? What do I mean by that? It's very, 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 very important. You have got to decide that you are capable of doing whatever in the hell it is that you feel like you need to do to make your life better, or to reach that goal, or to fix that problem, or to find that solution. Whatever that is, you have got to tell yourself that you can do it, because no one else can. I cannot sit here and be like, you know what, Tom, Karen, whomever, whatever your damn name is, you have got to be able to tell yourself every single day when you put your feet on the ground and you look in the mirror and you step out that door and you move towards your goals and you have your life, that you are not only deserving of it, but that you're willing. And people will argue this idea about being deserving of having life. Look, you're here, you deserve to have the best life possible, but you have to earn it. Like, nobody's going to hand it to you. And so seeking this as extrinsic, which means outside motivation, outside drive, outside things, is never going to work. Here's a great example. And I know I'm like talking about weight, but it's just what's on my mind right now. Think about The Biggest Loser. We know that this show is a show where people were motivated to lose as much weight as possible in the quickest amount of time in the goal of reaching the prize of winning money. That's an external goal. I mean, sure, to an extent, they're doing the work, they're getting healthy, but at the end, the prize isn't health, it's money. And what happened to most of the people, and I think, in fact, like almost all of the people who have been on that show, they all gained the weight back. Because the money is extrinsic. It doesn't matter. It's not a thing that's going to be a driver long term. What's an intrinsic motivating factor, an intrinsic goal, an intrinsic why is, I want to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle. I want to be able to go to my son's baseball game. I want to be able to hang out with my grandkids, not on an oxygen tank. That is intrinsic. It has to be a driver that is so important to you that motivation isn't even a factor anymore. You are just like, I'm doing this, period. I've made up my mind. This is what I'm going to do. And so in order to do that, you have to identify your why. You have to be determined. And you have to tell yourself that you have permission to do that and be unrelenting. And to be honest with you, and this is where I'm going to lose some of you, and I expect there may be people who will never listen to another podcast that I do after I say this. If you don't reach your goal, it's your fucking fault. Period. If you do not get your life in whatever capacity it is to a place that you want, it is your fault. Period. There's no one else to blame because no one walks for you, no one breathes for you, no one loves for you. You're the only one who has the power to put your life into a place that you want it to be. And so I challenge you to think about this and really sit with this idea and this concept that it's on you, right? This all comes back to this intrinsic thought process and motivation being something that has to be within you. Right? There's no amount of motivation on planet Earth that is going to solve anything for you. Even your own intrinsic motivation, it is the process of doing which will lead you to where you want to be. It is the process of being unrelenting that is going to help you climb that mountain. It is the process of your mindset that is going to give you the strength that you must have. Right? You have to have this undeniable strength within yourself to accomplish anything. And if you've made it to this point in life, like, you should actually reward yourself with a hug. Give yourself something that is of value, of reward for yourself for making it this far and for working. But you also have to realize, like, long term, you're going to have to keep putting in work. You've only gotten this far. Right? And if you want to get to where you're going, you got to keep driving. You got to keep your foot on the gas pedal. And on the hard days, this is when it's most important. Because on the hard days, here's what's going to happen. And we've all experienced this. I've experienced this countless times. Look, guys, you don't get to 350, 360 pounds by giving a fuck. In fact, you get there by the opposite, by not giving a fuck at all. And so on those hard days when you're like, I don't want to go to the gym and I don't feel well and I feel like the world is against me and this isn't working and blah, 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 blah. That's when it's the most important time for you to keep your foot on the gas, hold yourself to a higher standard and level of accountability, and go forward. Because that mountain is always going to be there. And it could be any type of mountain that you want it to be. But it's going to exist. And it will always be there until you make a choice and a decision to climb it. Guys, as usual, thank you so much for spending the time and listening to my rants. Today felt like a rant because I'm very much in this mood where I'm like, get stuff done no matter what. I'm just having this feeling. Think Unbroken is now out on paperback at thinkunbroken.com/paperback. It has really been this trying process. If someone would have told me when I sat down to start writing this book how difficult it was actually going to be, I don't know if I would have done it, like real talk, because it was super difficult. But every day I came a step closer and a step closer and a step closer to having it done and completed, because I made a decision that no matter what, I was going to finish this book. And it came out on January 1st, and it's available. It's on Amazon. It's sold hundreds of copies already, which, guys, I am so grateful. Thank you so much. It means the world to me that there are people in the world who value my opinions and my thoughts and my processes and what I've created to implement into their lives. Because, guys, I know it works. I mean, I get that it's really easy to say that when you look at my life 8, 10, 15, 20 years removed from trauma. And it's been a trial, and it hasn't ended. And it is my Everest. My childhood trauma is my Everest. I am climbing it every day. Every single day, it's a victory for me when I go out and I do the things that make my life feel happy and complete. And that motivation comes from within, because my why is to help other people change their lives. Because I get to wake up happy, and I get to wake up and love myself, and I get to wake up and do amazing things like travel the world and have a podcast and speak with people and write books and these things. And that to me is amazing. And I'm ever so grateful, because I'm just a kid from the hood that nobody expected to make it out. And I decided that I was going to, and that's my why. So guys, until next time, thank you so much for spending time with me and listening. If you're listening on iTunes, if you're listening on Spotify, please subscribe, leave a like. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and follow and comment. You can find me on Instagram at Michael Unbroken. And again, the paperback is available at Amazon if you search Think Unbroken, and at thinkunbroken.com/paperback. And until next time, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see ya. Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of life coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program.
What's so special about Hero Bread's soft, fluffy, and delicious breads, buns, and tortillas? Hero Bread serves up 0 to 1 grams of net carbs, 5 to 11 grams of protein, and high fiber in every delicious serving. Made with natural ingredients, Hero Bread supports gut health, promotes weight management, and helps maintain blood sugar. Hero also drops other limited edition ultra-low net carb goodies like rich flaky croissants and buttery brioche slider rolls. Head to hero.co to shop today.